Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chalavet Movies. My name is John and this is my entire collection, part 6. This video will feature the entire slasher collection from 88 films, which was started in 2015, and I'm going to go through these quite quickly so I can get the whole 49, which is the titles up until now in June of 2021, and I'm going to try and get them all in one video, which will be no mean feat. Okay, so number 1 is from 1981. It is Graduation Day. Quite a good slasher actually, and I think this one's out of print. Number 2 is from 1980. It's Mother's Day. I remember this one being quite hard to pick up on VHS back in the day. It was one of the ones that didn't seem to be released in the UK. Number 3 is from 1981, and it is Don't Go in the Woods Alone. This is a very low budget banned video nasty. It's one of the last ones video nasties that I had to see. I always heard really bad things about this, but actually I quite enjoyed this film. It's much better than you would think. Number 4 is 1984. It's Splatter University. Now this cover here is just blatant rip-off of The House by the Cemetery, actually, if I'm honest, and it actually features Katerina McCall in the picture, and she's not even in the film, but anyway, it's quite a decent film. The next one is number 5 from 1987, and it is Slaughterhouse. This was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a low budget sort of Madman rip-off, but it quite is in a way, but it's a lot better than I really thought it was going to be. Number 6 is Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. I remember seeing this back in the day and I quite enjoyed it, and actually I was really glad to see this on this collection. And also it does feature Leatherface himself, Gunnar Hansen. Number 7 is from 1985, and it is Nail Gun Massacre. Now that's as bad as it sounds. It is somebody going around with a nail gun, but it's quite a decent film actually. I think the effects are pretty poor actually, but I don't mind that in a slasher film. Number 8 is Dead of Winter from 1987. Now, when this was one of the first ones that I thought, I don't think this is going to be any good, and I heard bad things about it, but to be honest, it's a really good film, and it doesn't get talked about at all, but I would have never known about it if it wasn't been for the series, as some of these films in here do that for me. But yes, I did like it. Next one is number 9 from 1981, and it is X-Ray. This is a very low budget film, and I do remember that when you have people in here and you have like red herrings that you see someone looking to the camera and you think, hang on, they might be the murderer, then the next person says something and you think, hang on, I think they know something more. You know, it's all these red herrings throwing you off. This film probably has the most red herrings in any film I've ever seen. Everybody does the look to the camera or the sort of shifty look throughout the whole film. It's absolutely bonkers for that, but I do like it because of that. Next is number 10 from 1980. It is The Bogeyman. This was a banned video nasty. I don't really know why it was banned, if I'm honest. It's quite a decent film actually, although it doesn't really make any sense. Quite gory as well. Lovely print on that one. The next one is definitely out of print title. It is Blood-Sucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. This is from 1981, and it's a crazy film. Never heard of it before, and I think it's really out of print now. I don't know for what reason, and also I do know that Tom Savini does special effects by Tom Savini, but I do think the thing I remember about this thing is a comedy. Of course it is, with a title like that, and I do think that the best thing about it is that the two guys in here, like two cops in here, one of them is like a bit of a hard-hitting cop, and the other one is when anybody does anything that's got violence in it or gore, he just throws up instantly, which is so funny actually. The next one is number 11 from 1981. It is Nightmares and a Damaged Brain. Now, I do know this one is out of print. This is the full version of Nightmares and Damaged Brain. It's the longest in the world as far as I know, and it's highly recommended by myself. I do love this film. Very graphic, very sleazy, but yes, out of print, strangely enough, which it's a bit of a shame, like, because it was great to see this finally released uncut in the UK. The next one is spy number 13 from 1984, and it is Children of the Corn. I do think when I saw this one, I thought I'm not really into this one, but I had to get it for this series. But on watching it, I thought it was a really good film actually. And Arrow are doing a 4K of this, which should look really nice, even though this looks really good as well. The next one is Children of the Corn 2 from 1982. It's spine number 14, and you can see the sort of, it's not bad, don't get us wrong, but it's kind of slipping a little bit. The first one is by far the best. I think there's more than the three that are in here, but it's not too bad actually. And the next one is Children of the Corn 3 from 1985, spine number 15. I don't know if these three are still in print actually. I've got a feeling that they're not. I don't know why I think that. This actually has a really early appearance by Charlize Theron. Can you believe it? In this movie. Wow. Next up is spine number 17. It's 1988. It's Sleepaway Camp 2. This movie is more like a comedy. Sleepaway Camp was really good, I found, but Sleepaway Camp 2 is kind of a sort of nod to Sleepaway Camp. It's quite funny actually. It goes into more like the family tree and that, and this person is not the original person from Sleepaway Camp at this point. But anyway, it's not a bad film actually. I think the person in here is actually Bruce Springsteen's sister. Can you believe it? Next up is spine number 18. It's from 1989, and it is Sleepaway Camp 3. I think this stars the same girl who is Bruce Springsteen's sister. And it's more of the same actually, and I think they're quite good actually, quite entertaining, although they're not as good as Sleepaway Camp, the original. They probably had rights issues, so they couldn't get Sleepaway Camp into this series. Next up is 16, and it's 1988, and it's Scarecrows. Has a good premise where there's a sort of SWAT team, and they go into these cornfields full of scarecrows, and they are they have a SWAT team. They have obviously they can voice control with each other, but they can't see each other, and it's quite good actually how they're trying to sort of navigate these cornfields with these scarecrows attacking them. Get another stash. Next up is spine number 19 from 1983. It's Scalps. This is ultra low budget, and I mean I don't think I've ever seen anything as low budget as this. The printing is absolutely shocking, but I do like this film. I don't know why I like it, because I shouldn't like it, because it is in essence quite a boring film, but I just like it for the fact it's so just must have been made on a shoestring. Every film deserves to be seen, I find. The next one is spine number 20 from 1977. It's Drive-In Massacre. I love this film. It's so funny. It's very low budget, don't get us wrong, but I find this like a comedy, but I find it like a really good film as well. Highly recommended by me. The next one is spine number 21 from 1983, and it is called Prosy. What a title. I remember this film has got a different title in other countries. I think this is what's called in the UK for a sort of sensationalistic title. But it's not a bad film actually. It's a bit more like a sort of stalker slasher and whodunit. Quite good actually. It stars the girl who was actually in Bogeyman. Next one is spine number 22. It's from 1990, and it stars Lou Diamond Phillips. Do you remember him? It's The First Power. I did think it was going to be quite average, but it's not a bad film actually. He plays a good part actually, Lou Diamond Phillips. But whatever happened to him? Next up is spine number 23 from 1989, and it is one of the best films. That's one of the really underground films that everybody should know, but probably nobody knows about. It's Intruder. It's basically think of everything you can think of the Evil Dead. There's a lot of people to do with the Evil Dead into this film. It's got some amazing effects, but this version actually, the print on it is nowhere near as good as the Scream Factory one. Next up is spine number 24, 1986. It's Mountaintop Massacre. I remember thinking this was quite a decent film actually. It's not great, but it's got some quite spooky elements to it. Quite good deaths. Next up is spine number 25, 1987. Return to Horror High, starring George Clooney, who it must be in it for 10 seconds. Wow. So of course, if he's in there, he's probably one of his first films, but they've stuck him on there to make everybody think, wow, it's a George Clooney film, I'm going to get it. How many times did that happen to you when you were in the video shops, when you used to get like the latest Bruce Lee film, but it's just Bruce Lee's in it for 10 seconds. Yep, so I remember this being quite a good comedy actually, comedy horror. Next is spine number 26. It's 1988, and it's Hide and Go Shriek. This is actually not a bad film. A lot of these titles I haven't never heard of before, but I did find this one to be quite enjoyable. Next up is Spine number 27, and this was one of the hard ones to get. Now, some of these ones that went out of print very quickly, and this is another one that's out of print just before dawn. I didn't get the slipcover on it because I think it was just going to be a ridiculous price. Some of these ones that are out of print do go for a stupid money, especially with the slipcovers on. I'm not too bothered because as you'll see, the slipcovers don't matter that much on here, as you'll see a little bit later coming up. But it's good. I wasn't expecting too much for it for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if I just didn't like that cover. But the film itself is a really good film actually, and it's got a lovely print on here. I think it's got 2 versions on it as well, maybe. The next one is Spine number 28 from 1982, Happy Hell Night. Now, this one was not so bad actually, never heard of it before. When you hear of a film from 1992, you think to yourself, is it going to be as good as an early 80s slasher, isn't it? It's pretty decent actually. I haven't come across any yet that I didn't like at all. Next up is Spine number 29, and it's a film that I want to see for a long time from 1990. It's called Luther the Geek. Now, they say in this film, a geek is somebody who bites the heads off chickens in circus shows, and I don't know if that's true or not. I think it is. I don't know why they call that person a geek, but anyway, it's about this sort of bloke who's a bit like that, but it's really gross out, and it's much better. I didn't think it was going. I thought it was going to be a gross out film with not much to offer, but actually, it's quite a decent film, and it's quite sickening in places as well. So, speaking of slipcovers, this one here is the first one that I've got with a slipcover. It's Spine number 30, it's 1978, and it's Toolbox Murders. Now, this one here, as you can see, now I'll show you the alternative art there, which is quite nice. I like that red cover. I don't know why it wasn't put on the main cover. The actual, and I'm going to say, is it Scream Factory they've got it? It might be Blue Underground actually, they've got this in America. Their Blu-ray is much better than this Blu-ray. This one's quite scratchy. But I love this cover, really sensationalist. And as you can see on the shelves, when they're next to each other, they don't really mind having they don't stick out like a sore thumb if you don't have a slipcover in it. So there you go. Next up is Spine number 31, it's 1983, and it's The House on Sorority Row. This is another one of these classic generic horrors, slashers that in the 80s when they used to have a sort of fraternity thing and there would be all these murders going on. You've seen them a million times before. I remember this one being quite decent. Next one is Spine number 32. It's from 1988 and it's Slaughterhouse Rock. Now, this film is a bit odd because it stars somebody who I'm really a fan of, Toni Basil. Actually, she's I think she's still going strong in her late 70s, and she dances like somebody who's 17. So for that reason, I like the fact that she's a big part of this film. I think she's actually in it, and she also choreographed some of this thing. The film itself isn't the best film. It's is it 1988? Yeah, it's got that sort of really 88 sort of when they weren't that great sort of look to it. Anyway, it's all right. I like it, but I can see people not liking this film. Sticks out a bit like a sore thumb actually. The next one is number 33 from 1983 and it's called Sweet 16. I don't remember too much about this, but I think this follows the same rule as the same route as Slaughterhouse Rock. It's not that great, but anyway, it's in the set, and I do collect these ones, and I will go back and revisit them all. It's not as if I'm buying them and I don't like them, but yeah, it's not too bad. But is it a memorable film? Not really. Get another stash. This is the last stash. Actually, this isn't going to take too long, as long as I thought it was going to take. I might try and do the whole Italian classics in one go, but I doubt. I think there's too many of them. I think there's 50 odd, maybe nearly 70 of them. So next up is Spine number 34. It's 1987. Now this one is the hard one to get. It's Blood Harvest. I think this is all due to rights with Tiny Tim, the man there who stars in this film as part of this clown. I'm not going to go too much into it, but it's not the best of films. I did enjoy it actually. It's got quite good ending on it, but it's massively hard to get. I haven't got the slipcover in it. I have got the booklet in it, but yeah, all of these have got booklets in, by the way, if you'd get them on release. And wow, is this one a hard one to get? But I think it's even hard to get in the States, so beware if you're trying to get all these ones. Sometimes they sell them on eBay as a sort of big set. You're probably better off getting a whole lot in one go and maybe selling off the ones you don't want. But this out of all of them, this is the hard one to get. Next up is spine number 35. It's 1986 and it's Alice, Sweet Alice. I think Arrow did this in America, an American release, not in the UK. But I really, really like this film. It's the typical one where there's like kids growing up and some kids are evil and some kids aren't. And it's quite brutal in its depiction of this sort of thing between like school kids killing each other and whatnot. But yeah, it's quite good film. It quite throws you on the like who is the killer. I'll just move them along a bit and hope that they don't fall over. Ooh, they're tottering. Or teetering even. Next one is one of my favourite ones in this set. I do go on about this film quite a bit. It's number 36 from 1989 and it is Offerings. This is, I could just only class it as the lowest budget ever Halloween rip-off. But that's not taking anything away from it. If you go on with zero expectations but know you're going to have a laugh with it, it's absolutely brilliant. I just love this film. And I keep going on about the last line in this film, but it's perfection. Okay, so I honestly, if you can get this one, I don't know if, I think it's still in print, do get it. Next up is a one with a slipcover, so I'll show you the other cover on here, which is quite similar actually. And this is spine number 37 from 1988 and is Bad Dreams. It's not too bad for them actually. It's one of these ones that's saying in sort of like the Nightmare on Elm Street sort of. I think that's come out around about the same time. So people are trying these sort of dream warrior type things. I don't remember quite liking it, but you can see where it was getting its influences from. The next one is spine number 38 and it's from 1983 and it's Frightmare. This is a decent film as well. It's got this whole sort of story about this this old horror veteran dying and then being woken up in the mausoleum. He's coming back as a sort of zombie character in a mausoleum. Can't even say it. It's a really good film actually in that way, but it is quite sort of late 80s in its look, but it's not a bad film. Next up is a really good film from 1991 and it's spine number 39 is Popcorn. Now this one is quite strange because it's a bit like sort of like it's got like a scream element to it. It's when they're in this film and they kind of know they're in this film. It's really hard to explain without giving anything away, but I think it takes place in a cinema as well, which is absolutely another brilliant thing. Kind of got a demon's twist on it. But it's all to do with the kind of, they all know that this film's going on in a way. But yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I do recommend it. I wasn't holding out anything for that, but I was quite surprised at how good it was. Next is another slipcover, although there's not much difference on the slipcover. I think it only takes the 15 certificate off. It's Student Bodies. It's from 1981 and it is spine number 40. Lovely cover on that. This one is another one that's more like a comedy, but it's a really good comedy. It's kind of gets like killing in this. I'm sure it's in like a TV show that's set place in this college or university, and it's all about that. But I think they know that they're in the film again, a bit like Popcorn. So it's quite a good one and a comedy, quite a different play on things. Next one is one I haven't got with on a slipcover, and I do want the slipcover for this one because I've been on the look for it. And it is from 1980, 41. It is Terror Train with Jamie Lee Curtis. Now I remember when I put this on, the picture quality in here was absolutely stunning. Haven't watched it yet, but I'm really excited to see it because any sort of like slashes on a train is a winner for me. Next up is one with a brilliant cover, spine number 42. It's from 1980 and it's Christmas Evil. Now I haven't watched this yet. I'm going to say this for this Christmas actually, if I'm honest. Why not? I don't usually have to watch films at Christmas when they're Christmas films, but I kind of feel that I do that more. I'm going to say this one anyway, rather than watch it now. So yes, so don't know anything about it, but I love the cover. Next one is a one that I haven't watched yet, and it is spine number 43 from 1980. It is Schizoid, starring Klaus Kinski. Now anything starring Klaus Kinski I know is going to be good. If I don't know if he's the murderer or whatever he is, but he always plays a really good part, a really creepy part as well. So that's highly anticipated. The next one is a one that I saw loads, and I think I went to the picture to see this one as well. It is from 1980 1983, spine number 44, and it is 10 to Midnight. I remember seeing this at the cinema, and do remember seeing this loads on VHS as well. Love this film. It's got an absolutely brilliant print on it, although I haven't watched this version yet, but I'm dying to watch that one. Next one is the one that I watched, and I didn't know what I was getting into. It's spine number 1945, and it's from 1987, and it is Moon in Scorpio. Lovely cover on that. The story, the thought of having a serial killer alone on a boat with some people, bumping them off one by one, is absolutely amazing. I thought, I really can't wait to see this film. But when I watched it, I was really surprised at how awful it was. But I'm not going to go into spoilers. The story does not make sense, but I think really they were writing the stories they were going, and they kind of run out of ideas, and they literally didn't know how to finish the movie. So it's bonkers, but it's okay for the fact that it's so, I mean, they explain everything about it in the special features to why it was so bad. So I like it for that reason, that they kind of knew that they made a turkey. But apart from the cover, wow, is this film not that great. The next one is from 1980, spine number 46, and it is New Year's Evil. Now everyone said, well, not everyone, but I heard loads of bad things about this film, saying it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I tell you what, I really enjoyed this film. It's one of the best slasher films I've seen. It takes place at this killer. Now I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but you know who the killer is immediately. The killer's revealed in the first 5 minutes, which is odd. You would think there's no way this is going to play out for the rest of the film, but in a way it kind of does, and it kind of really is a kind of welcome change to this the serial killer slasher type thing, because you think, wow, I know who this is, but don't make you think that takes anything away from it. It actually adds to it, and the story is much better because of that. Next one is a one called, it's spine number 47 from 1988, and it is called Grandmother's House. Now I remember thinking to myself, this is one of the best slasher films in this collection I've seen. The print on here is absolutely stunning. In fact, you would think it was a 4K if it was in the player. It is a 4K remaster, but it's totally just mind-blowing how good this picture is, and I think that's because Vinegar Syndrome are getting involved in this this setup of this. The masters are being lent of Vinegar Syndrome. So this is a pretty good film, actually. It's got a lot of twists and turns. You know, who is the killer, who's that? But it's got a good twist on the whole grandmother thing, this evil grandmother. So next up is spine number 48 from 1989. It is Dark Room. Now this is produced by Nico Mastorakis, who is infamous for Island of Death, one of Jordan's movie worm's favourite films. And it's a decent film, actually. It does sort of take place around a dark room. It's got to do with their photographs being taken and that. But it's quite a decent film, actually. It's very 80s in its sort of presentation, but it's not a bad film at all. So the last one in this part is spine number 49 from 1984, and is Blind Date. Now this is also produced by Nico Mastorakis, and it's a decent film, this, because this man here goes blind through a sort of, I'll not go too much into it, but he goes blind anyway, and he gets this sort of computer, a high-tech in 1984, he gets this computer sort of program thing, which can make him see sort of shapes in rooms, and it maps it a bit like a computer game, but he can't actually see any features of anybody's faces, so he can see most of what's going on, but he can't really see any fine detail. So that's a really good little way to sort of get the story to be quite interesting, about the fact that you can see what's going on, but he can't, but he knows something's going on. So yeah, quite a good film as well, and it's got a lovely print in it as well. Okay, so didn't take us too long to get through them. I'm really glad to get them all done in one go. So anyway, so thanks for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.